Hakuna. Na mimi nataka niseme na nishukuru Rais William Samoei Ruto. Wakati jana umesema shoot but do not kill. I want to repeat it here. In fact, shoot and kill.
Mwingine, mtu ambaye anachukua moto, anaenda kuchoma biashara ya mtu, anaenda kuchoma mali ya watu wengine. Mtu kama huyo apigwe risasi miguu, aende hospitali, akienda kotini.
Si ukweli? Na tumeambia polisi, mtu yoyote mwenye atakaribia police station, pika yeye risasi.
A state officer standing up and saying you can shoot people as if people don't die from gunshot wounds. Honorable Speaker, we saw Rex Masai, the young man who was killed during the protest, was shot in the leg. So how can you tell people to shoot people in the leg as if those injuries are sustainable injuries? So, Honorable Speaker, we want to make it very clear that as a country we have totally lost our way. And we will not have a conversation with someone telling us to wait for 2027 when he's not giving us a chance to get to 2027. He has become an existential threat for this country and he must go as soon as possible. I thank you.
You know, Nelson Koech is just a little boy in the supermarket throwing a tantrum because his mom refused to give him candy. Nelson Koech is out here screaming and shouting that the police should shoot to kill.
Nataka niseme na nishukuru Rais William Samoei Ruto. Wakati jana umesema shoot but do not kill. I want to repeat it here. In fact, shoot and kill.
This is a government of very emotional people who they have zero thinking capacities. And Kenyans, we will not stoop to their level of stupidity and arrogance. We will not reduce ourselves to be like them. We refuse. Endeleni kuthrow tantrums zenyu kaa watoto, because that's what you are, boys, little boys. You're not men. You're not grown at all. And it keeps showing the level of maturity you have is zero and null and void. There is this push that I'm seeing from the government to plunge our country into a state of emergency where they will claim, oh, there was so much violence, we're going to shut it down to go into a state of emergency. Besides a state of emergency, the other game they might try and play is they decide, no, there's not going to be elections. That's what they're trying to do. So we can see these games clearly being played. Changing the narrative to now at, oh, it's unemployment. Ruto comes and says, mimi nilikuwa hapa sijui unemployment. No matter what you do, no matter how many tantrums you throw, no matter how much you raise your voice, again, you keep proving to this country that you're just a bunch of little boys. We are not going to stoop down to the level of terrorism that you showed us on Monday, or stoop down to the level of arrogance and raising our voices because we are upset. Nah, guys, we're not going to fall for this nonsense. You guys are boring at this point. There's nothing exciting about anything you have to say.
The only things seems to work in this country are guns and tear gas. That is the reason why unaona CS Interior order the police to kill anyone approaching the police station. And the president also just said yesterday that they should be shot in the legs. So it seems that the only things working in this country are guns and tear gas. But if you ask them for jobs, if you ask them for the promises they made to the people of Kenya, they start playing the tribal card. Wanasema, oh, the president anachukiwa kwa sababu yeye ni mkale. Kwani, before we voted for William Ruto, hatuko tunajua anaitwa William Samoei Ruto, hatuko tunajua yeye ni mkalenjin. The tribal card, the useless slogans are not going to work for you this time round. We are tired. You have failed young Kenyans in this country, and you have failed Kenyans. The promises you made, there is nothing seems to work, apart from guns and tear gas. You have achieved more with guns and tear gas, more than you have achieved economically. But we understand, we have accepted that we made a mistake, and we will rectify that mistake come 2027.
Fellow Kenyans, especially I'm addressing this to the young people, especially the Gen Z. You began the process of a revolution and the transformation of your country, Kenya. But this is now becoming something that you didn't want. Now we have somebody who has come to say they want a national dialogue, so-called conclave. Yet I know conclave can only be done in the Vatican when you're electing a pope, and I'm sure you didn't want to elect a pope. Another conclave can be a conclave of witches. the witches can also meet in the secret of the night or somewhere secret and elect their representative, which is a witch. I'm sure that's not what you want. Now, William Ruto says he wants to do Kumi Bila break, so that's not your guy as well. The opposition, which are actually the legendary politicians, have also said something interesting, that for them, they don't want half term, they want one term. And for you, you are saying half term. So who is right? The person who's right, the person who began this revolution. It is you who began the revolution, and you are saying it's half term. So do not take one term when you can get half term. I have proposed that we need to have what is called a transitional government, and that actually is your half term. It's provided for by the Constitution, by the way. These people brought the National Accord, it was passed. They brought the NADCO report, it was passed. Those do not have a provision in the Constitution, but they were an act of necessity. So I want you to insist that you want to have a national transitional government. Why are they politicians comfortable with one term? Because they are organizing themselves to take power, take positions. While for you, will you be there? Most unlikely not, because you don't have the financial firepower to fight the financial muscle William Ruto has built over the 2.5 years by looting the economy. You have none of you in the IBC. So how will you get those positions? And the ones in IBC, commissioners will appoint their own to become returning officers, among other things, procure documents. So what I'm trying to tell you is that now, because we talked about Saba, which is 7 days of age, keep it going. I'm just advising you. I know it's risky. It's risky to me as well. But just keep it going, because that's the only thing that will make William Ruto understand that all these threats he's showing are not working. And I can tell you might think he's threatening people. Akuna, when the guy is angry and mad like that, anger comes from the point of weakness, not strength. So soldier on, defy him. We don't listen to all this nonsense. You might think I'm just saying so. I am here, Professor Fred Ogola, a qualified professional who cannot do his work because William Ruto wants me to worship, and I will not. And let us not worship him. Atuta piga magoti mbele ya hawa wauaji. That has always been our anthem. Hatuwezi tukaangalia kama maovu hiyo ndio anaongoza. Maovu ndio anaongoza. We won't listen to any threat, because if you accept this threat and recoil back forever, you'll be pushed back and forth. It looks at that moment when people are doing tug of war. When those people are pulling and you're pulling, the first side to just give in quickly will be pulled to infinity. Don't accept this. Stand on your ground. Thank you. God bless you. And God bless Kenya.